Let's hear from Rams offensive coordinator Liam Coen on bringing Baker Mayfield to the LA Rams. Here he is.
Yeah, I think it's just a chance to evaluate. You're always looking for competition at every position, and you're looking for a chance to evaluate talent. And that was the goal. The goal was to try to bring somebody in here that can continue to add and provide depth, but also compete. And we felt like that was the right decision to make. And, we feel good about our room and the quarterback that we have for the future of the Los Angeles Rams, which is Matthew Stafford. But, feel obviously pretty good about somebody to come in here and compete at a high level for us.
The future is Matthew Stafford, but really you have to wonder how long that future is going to last. He's mid-30s. He feels like an old mid-30s.
It is an old mid-30s, right.
Taken a lot of pounding over the years, and we don't know how much he's taken. We don't know how many injuries he had because he is the exact opposite of Big Ben. All due respect, but we know. On one hand, you got the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man with an ice pack on every joint on his body during a training camp practice. On the other hand, you got Matthew Stafford, who, just has a slight hitch in his giddy up.
Put some dirt
in
on
late
it.
November.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
And don't tell anybody. I mean,
Right.
just go. It's football. Yeah, I'm hurt. Yeah, I can't. My arm doesn't work right. I'm still going to find a way to throw the football. You just get to a point where you physically can't do it anymore. This placement of him on injured reserve is kind of a microcosm of what may happen when his career ends. You just get to a point where no matter how badly you want to do it, you physically can't do it, and that day may be coming sooner than we realize.
Yeah, I do agree with you in the fact that he's got more wear and tear on him than we've seen from most franchise-type quarterbacks. And that's the unfortunate thing about, one, he got into the league super young, right? He was playing as 21-year-old. I think he drafted at 20 or just turned 21. So he's been around longer than we think. And, yeah, he took a beating there with the Detroit Lions. They never had a great offensive line, as we've discussed. They never had a run game. It was all him. It was him hanging in the pocket and throwing sidearm lasers down the football field and just getting crushed doing it. And then really, since he's been with the Rams, he's been crushed a lot too. He took a lot of hits last year. The offensive line was not the strength of their football team. It was kind of the thing they managed to make happen. And then this year, it was an absolute disaster. So, yeah, from the Rams standpoint, I think it makes a lot of sense. Would it shock me if the Rams are better next year? Absolutely not. Would it shock me within being better that week 5, Matthew Stafford gets hit a lot in a game and has to miss 2 or 3 games and they need Baker Mayfield to come in if that, marriage works here the last 5 weeks? Absolutely not either. And I think that's where it makes sense for them too.
Matthew Stafford turns 35 on February 7th. So for a couple of months, he's the exact same age as Russell Wilson. Now, that used to be more stunning than it is now because Russell Wilson feels like he's a guy who's aging more quickly than he should as a franchise-level quarterback. You mentioned the offseason and what's to come and next year. We've reached the excuse-making portion of the season for the Rams, and 2 of the things that came out from Sean McVay earlier this week. Number one, it was a factor not having Matthew Stafford available to throw in the offseason program.
Yeah,
Sean McVay's finally admitted that.
Right,
yeah,
right.
How can it not be? Why do we
Right,
practice? As
right.
McVay said, why do we practice in the offseason? What's the point, Aaron Rodgers? Why do we do it? Why are we there? Well, so you're ready to go when the season starts. And also, the turnover and the short turnaround. You play until the middle of February. You lose Kevin O'Connell, and we're seeing the value Kevin O'Connell possibly brought to the Rams last year, given what he's doing with the Vikings this year, and you don't have as much time. Remember the year that the Panthers made it to the Super Bowl and they dramatically revamped their offseason program just because, their guys are beat up, they're tired, and you're riding the wave of winning the Super Bowl, and everybody says how great you are, and you're in L.A., and you get this big giant ring that looks like it weighs 15 pounds. I mean, yeah, it's hard. It's hard to turn it around and reset, and off you go, and your starting quarterback wasn't able to throw. And then he didn't throw for
and then
most
managed in training camp. That's where I was going to say.
Yeah.
This went beyond OTAs and all of that. I mean, we were talking about pitch count and, oh, look, he went a few days without us talking about his elbow hurting, as that was big news in the middle of August. So how could that not affect? Yes, it's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of reps that went by the wayside there because, we had to manage the quarterback, and we couldn't get some young guys, ready in time. And there's just, it was a ultimate Super Bowl hangover in the party city where, you're right, an older team that is not very deep, right? Lost some key players in the offseason, middle-class players that helped their team, let alone some stars. And then, our quarterback's banged up. Our big free agent signing and Robinson didn't show up at wide receiver, really. Our offensive line's worse than we thought. And it's just all gone the wrong direction for the Rams this year. So, now it's all about just rebuilding, retooling, and thinking about the future. And that's why they make this move.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.